one thing I want to move to is the backlog. You guys have had a huge backlog. I think over 4,000 people have placed
somewhere around
pre-orders.
4,200.
Yeah, so I guess in tandem with how you're fulfilling that backlog and plan to go fulfill it and like prioritize that versus the rapid responder, the deliberator, some of these other concepts, or the rental operations. I'm kind of curious how you're strategizing where you deploy your earliest units.
Yeah, so the rapid responder and the deliberator, we're going to be piloting those in the first quarter of next year.
Okay.
But those will be in very low volume. Just basically getting a few vehicles out into existing fleets and saying, one, does this solve a need for your fleet? What do we need to add to it? What do we need to take away from it to make it ideal for your particular purpose? And then really build the backlog for 2021 production. So we're aiming for a pretty major step up over the course of the next, call it 10 to 16 months, from sort of the what would be a rate of hundreds of vehicles a year that we're building at now to 10,000 plus vehicles per year within the next 16 months. And to do that, we need to have a firm order backlog, not just of FUVs, but also sort of the full spectrum of vehicles in our offering.
Yeah, and one thing I want to get to is kind of crazy partnership ideas, because I'm an investor and watching Arcimoto kind of execute and validate one step at a time the business model. I think it seems more and more likely, or like I'm kind of rooting for a bigger company to come in and sort of make a strategic investment, like Amazon Rivian, or companies like Uber, who I feel like don't really, like, they're getting into bikes, so they're kind of moving into smaller hardware.
When I look at sort of what we are offering, it is a fundamentally new form factor on the road. And so one of the things that's very exciting to me is that we are, now that we actually have a product that is in the market, we can go to a fleet and say, hey, why don't you take this vehicle for a week, drive it around, see if it fits your needs. Our bet is that for a wide range of fleet needs, that the Arcimoto is actually a very good platform fit for fleet operators. And so in the past, when we have had those conversations, it's not like they can just say, well, I can go get any motorcycle and test it out and think yours is going to be basically like this thing, or any car. Mm-hmm. It's a unique new vehicle, and so to really evaluate it, you got to have the product in the market and on the road. And I think that's really one of the pivotal pieces in all of the sort of larger potential partner conversations that we're having, is that we actually have a production vehicle.
Yeah.
And so all the conversations that we had a year ago, 2 years ago, and so on, were sort of like, well, hey, come back when you've actually got through the certification gauntlet, when you've actually got the vehicle tested, when you understand the manufacture process, when we can actually buy one. And so that's it. I would say we don't have anything to talk about in any substantial sense just yet, but the tenor of those conversations has really changed.
Yeah, and I think it's so interesting when I think about Uber and Lyft and the valuations these companies have, their IPO, their cash position, and the way they're kind of struggling to build a moat in this sort of new mobility space, like whether it's smaller personal mobility or Uber doing Uber Eats, and sort of wanting to leverage their whole platform as like a delivery sort of infrastructure. So then I think about what you're doing with the deliberator and think that could have huge opportunities in sort of like small urban fleets. So I don't know, that's just kind of one thing I've always thought is a no-brainer for one of these companies. It's like, for a $10 million investment in Arcimoto, it's such a small company, that's such a small fraction of their cash, to get exposure and then to partner on vehicles. I think it seems like a huge opportunity.
Yeah, it kind of recalls the conversation that we were having in New York, where if you think about rideshare, I mean, the challenge and the reason why rideshare companies are saying, well, autonomous is the future, is because there's a significant cost associated with having somebody else drive you around, right? And wouldn't it be cool if you could just jump on an Arcimoto anywhere in Manhattan, drive it across town, and leave it behind at any garage or at any valet, and just have the charging done? So I think there are sort of next generation vehicle sharing partnerships that are possible, that are really well dialed for this particular platform.